It is June 5th, 2021. We're here on the rooftop of the house located at 3403 Arnold Avenue in San Diego, California, 92104. This is a one-bathroom house. The kitchen is back-to-back with the bathroom. And so right here we have a original 3-inch cast iron vent. This will lead directly into the beginning of the sewer main. Now in the backyard, outside the kitchen door, there is an extension for a 2-inch clean-out that they put in probably to help clean out the kitchen line. And then in the small garage, we do have a laundry room in there with a laundry drain. Okay, here's where the toilet dumps into the system right there. That's the T-junction. The unit is vacant, so we did go ahead and run water when we got here to put water in the pipes to make sure that everything is draining properly, and then the bottom of the pipe doesn't hold water in what we call a sag or a belly due to a poor sloping pipe. So here we just made the transition into the horizontal sewer line from that vertical little drop. So we're now headed across. Now from the crawl space, it looks like this line actually does not head towards Arnold Avenue. It looks like it heads towards Upis because this house is on the corner. So we'll see if it does head that way. But we'll continue to push down this original cast iron pipe. This is in the crawl space of the house right now. It's not exposed, it's under the dirt, but would be accessible if it ever had to be dug up. But as of right now, you can see the pipe is intact. We're basically looking for any major cracks or breaks, any splitting of the pipe, any root intrusions, or debris in the bottom right there. Looking for any heavy scale or buildup. Right now it looks actually really good and round. A lot of times the bottom of the pipe will get some eventual buildup, and that gets to be where it kind of flattens out the pipe. But so far it looks really clean and good. Now, guessing right here, we're seeing all the lint and everything hanging off the laundry. So right there is our 4x2 T-junction where the laundry dumps into the system. So that's the connection right at the last spot under the house, and then essentially now we'd be going into, you can see there's always a lot of cockroach, water bugs in the line. But anyway, now we appears if we're headed towards Upis, we would be under the actual garage slab itself. A little bit of debris hanging on the top of that pipe there, but that doesn't look like any type of roots or anything else bad. The line still looks in overall good condition, completely functional, no issues with it. Cast iron can have a lifespan of anywhere from average of 50, it can be up to 100 years actually. We have cast iron that is extremely well made with no impurities in it, very thick and solid, and can just last a very long time. Again, we're not finding any kind of issues here. Now it looks like right here you can see we have an opening at the top of the pipe. That appears to be the possible buried property line cleanout. So when we build every home, no matter how old it is, we always had a cleanout that was put in at the property line, which is typically going to be around 2 to 5 feet in front of the city sidewalk. That's where we go ahead and test the system backwards and then plug off the line. So as we back up right here, we can see the pipe opens up just a little bit. So right at about 54 feet right here. And we'll pull back and locate that just so we can mark it. And then right after that, you can see we transition into clay pipe, and that's exactly what typically happens because the neighborhoods are built up with these lines under the street and across the sidewalk up to the property line, and then from there the home builder then connects into that. So that definitely looks like our property line clean out right there at the top where it kind of opens up vertically in the top of the pipe, and then our transition into the clay pipe right here. Overall, don't see any root intrusions, like a little bit of debris on the top of the pipe there, but that's not actually roots, that's just some colorization. So that's good. Just some roach bugs hanging out there at that hub, no roots intruding. So clay is very susceptible to roots because it's just a greased up rubber boot that each piece of pipe is put into, and they're only 4 feet long, and so it's very easy for moisture to sneak by, which then lets roots grow through. But we don't have any root intrusions so far in these first couple hubs, so that's good. Okay, you can see one little root line hanging into there. I don't know if it's ever been cleaned up before, if this is just the very beginning after all these years, but there's a couple little small roots trying to get in right there at this hub. So we're at about 66 feet out right here, distance from this rooftop. Now it's about 18 feet vertical that we're in, and then across. So this is why we'll go ahead and back up again and eventually locate that property line clean out, because the roots don't need anything right now. It doesn't need any type of cleaning, but they can be easily maintained with a foaming chemical treatment that a homeowner can put down. And if you have that clean out brought to surface, it can be poured in from there, so you don't have to buy as much, and you make sure that it coats and treats the pipe properly. Otherwise, you're having to flush it down the toilet bowl, which can get a little bit messy, and you need a lot more bottles to get to this distance that we're out here. But anyway, we'll continue down the line here, see if there's any other root intrusions. That one's nice and clean as well, so far we only have that one intrusion. Very small root, looks like trying to grow in right there on the bottom left. So just like 2 junctions back, very, very tiny. Maybe a little tiny one on the right hand side and a little tiny one on the left hand side. So they're very, very minor, but they're there. So this is why the chemical treatment will help to keep these at bay from growing in, so it doesn't get to the point that you do have to go ahead and ever snake or hydrojet the line to get these removed out. Okay, so here's where the city went and did some work, and so they went ahead and with them, or their contractors more than likely, they replaced part of the clay pipe in the street. And so this is Greenbelt PVC pipe. So we transitioned from the clay into this PVC pipe. Okay, so it appears it goes right back to clay. So probably actually what had happened here is there was some underground boring or tunneling that was done either by the city or another contractor. Sometimes the cable companies, the phone companies, or SDG&E, the gas and electric companies, they're putting in underground utilities, and they use boring equipment, and sometimes they strike the underground their utilities in the way, and then they have to go back in and fix that. Or there was a broken or collapsed pipe, or there was just some other digging done in the street at some time and they hit the pipe and they had to put in a new section. And of course they don't put in clay, we put in plastic pipe, and that's what they did here. So that's only just one small section, and we go back into this next clay hub here. Got a little bit of a junction right there, so it's holding up our spring, so we have to get a running start. There we go. Now continue down this clay. And looks like we're making our last turn right here, and here's our dump into the large city pipe. So there's the huge city pipe. We again appear that this is on UPIS, but we're going to go ahead and locate those 2 very small root intrusions and that buried clean out to verify where we're at. But this is the very end of the line, so from 88.5 feet out from the roof vent is where this lateral line ends to the city. So we're now going to back up here. We're going to go ahead and back up to about that 74-foot mark or so. So we're going to pull back relatively quick here. We've already seen all this, and there's no problems with any of this pipe. We're going to come back to just mark out that one root intrusion so everybody knows where it's at for both the chemical treatment purpose as well as if they ever did any kind of repairs or anything. So here's that first one. We're going to go ahead and leave our camera here. We're going to go ahead and pause and locate to see where this is at and make a marking. Okay, we've gone ahead and located this clay sewer pipe that has this very tiny root intrusions right there. And so this pipe is about 2.5 feet into the street past the curb. The pipe is 3 feet 3 inches deep. We've actually marked this with a green paint dot in the street just to denote this pipe and this coupling where it's at for a reference point. And we'll go ahead and bring our camera down to ground level to show the markings we've made for the root intrusions and the buried clean out. So we're going to go ahead and now back up through the clay again and come back to that other very tiny intrusion that we had at the top of the pipe. Okay, that was right here. So here's where we have that very small root trying to get in from there as well. And there's a tree almost directly in the line of the path of this pipe, so that's why there's these roots here. And in general, the neighborhood has a lot of trees, and they can grow from hundreds of yards away, but this little intrusion here is definitely from the tree that's literally, again, almost it's on the frontage area, and it's right next to the path of the pipe. So we're going to go ahead and pause and go ahead and mark and locate this first intrusion out. Okay, so we've gone ahead and located this, again, very small, tiny root intrusion that's just starting in the clay pipe here. The pipe here is about 32 inches deep, so it's a little over 2.5 feet deep. We've got this marked. It's in between the sidewalk and the street and the frontage area. Somebody just flushed the toilet inside the property here, so we're going to see some water running by the camera here shortly. There we go, right there. So now we're just backing up, and we're going to back up here once the water stops, and we'll look again and locate this buried clean out here where we want to go ahead and mark this, so that in the future, at some point, again, they may really want to bring this to surface. It'll make it much easier to be able to maintain these roots if they get bigger. Now right now, again, they're so small you don't need to do any snaking, jetting, cleaning, or anything. Okay, so right here is our transition, and right in front of this transition on the top of the pipe is where that buried clean out is. So we can see the curvature on the pipe right there, so we're going to move our camera all the way to this front edge right before the clay where this is essentially at. We're now going to go ahead and pause, and we'll go ahead and mark this area. Okay, so we've gone ahead and located and marked this buried property line clean out at the very end of the cast iron pipe. So we're going to go ahead now and pause the video, pull the camera out, and move down to ground level to show where this clean out is buried, as well as the other clay markings we made. And so the cast iron pipe right here is 28 inches deep, so it's 2 feet 4 inches deep to the bottom of the pipe, and this is a few feet in front of the sidewalk. So we're going to go ahead and pause and move down there and show these. Okay, so we brought our camera down to ground level here, so you can see there's the corner, Upas Street and Arnold, and here's the side gate of the house. So 5.5 feet or so from the house, and about 2.5 feet in front of the sidewalk is our little flag indicator we've put into the ground right here. So this is again the property line clean out at 28 inches deep. So that's where the cast iron has a little clean out. If you dug in this area down to about 2 feet deep or so, a little bit past that, you'd be able to cut the cap off and extend that vertically up to surface, so that you could then go ahead and maintain the roots that are a little bit farther out. So you can see there's the sidewalk, there's the one tree that's almost directly over the sewer pipe, but just offset by a few feet. So now move over to the two other flags and markings that we have for the very small root intrusions in the line. Okay, so again, here's the tree almost directly over. You can see the large roots in the ground. So here's our first root intrusion. The pipe is 32 inches deep here, and then it heads straight out, and then about 2.5 feet into the street, you can see that green dot in the very middle of the picture right there, the camera. That green dot denotes the path of the pipe, and then the second root intrusion that's out there in the street. So again, none of this pipe would ever be dug up. It doesn't even need to be relined at this point. The root intrusions are so small and minor, they don't need the cleaning. The only thing we recommend in the future is one day to bring up that flag right there, the property line clean out, and then the chemical is called Robic Foaming Root Killer, R-O-E-B-I-C, Robic Foaming Root Killer, available at Home Depot and Lowe's. You can also buy it online at Amazon and other distributors. It's a foaming chemical treatment that envelops the pipe on the inside, gets everything from top to bottom. The other chemical treatments for root killing do not do that. You have to get the foaming one. So it's about $20 a bottle. If you put it in from a clean out that you have right there, you really only need one bottle. If you have to go from the toilet, you're going to really need about 3 bottles per treatment, and it gets a little messy because it foams up and may want to come out of the bowl. You could try to put it down the roof vent, but anyway, that's the recommendation at this point. So that concludes the recording for this property.